extremely quickly. So again, make sure you're paying attention. With this, I don't know, maybe we might even want to draw something like, if I draw this, if I have two parallel lines, remember those extra arrows tell you that they're parallel. That's horrible drawing, but what's this line called again? Starts with a T. Transversal. So you have that, you have your transversal. First one's corresponding angles. Name me a pair of corresponding angles in this picture.
5 and 8. 5 and 7.
What do you do with corresponding angles?
You smush it together.
Smush it together. Which angles lay over top of each other? One lays over top of what? And there's other pairs in there too. Name me a pair of alternate interior angles.
5 and 3. Or 3 and 5.
Either way, that's fine. With that, remember, with alternate interior angles, if I trace both of them, this is probably the most important one. This is the one that we use the most. If I trace both of them, what do I form?
Z.
Like a Z. Name me a pair of alternate exterior angles. Remember exterior angles? Which angles? Name 4 angles that are exterior angles.
1, 2, 7, 8.
Does everybody see that? They're on the outside, right? Now, Sean, is it going to confuse you? The picture turns this way. Still the same thing, right? These out here are exterior angles, and the ones inside are interior angles. So name me a pair of alternate exterior angles.
1, 8.
Ignore that straight mark going up through there. And the last one. Remember, this one's the oddball out of the bunch because instead of being congruent, these are supplementary angles. Name me a pair of consecutive interior angles.
4 and 5.
What do we call them? What I say probably a good thing to call them last time. Roommates. Good. Make sure you know all that. Dustin, you know all that, right? Because when I start asking questions, I want everybody to be upset with Kylie V back there when she misses a question and you got to start all over again. And
Don't call me first.
I said Kylie V. I didn't even say you. I love seeing all of your face, Keith. Are we ready? Looking at this picture, what's these symbols tell us again? Parallel. So those two lines are parallel. The red line's called a what again?
Transversal.
Sean, you couldn't read that, could you? That was sort of an easy question there. Name me a pair of angles that you know are congruent.
2 and 4.
2 and 4. How come 2 and 4 are congruent? They're vertical angles, so we still have all that. We still have the vertical angles, right? Give me something, give me a pair of corresponding angles. Let's start with those.
3 and 8.
3 and 8. So what do we know about angle 3 and angle 8?
They're corresponding.
And what this tell us? Corresponding angles have to be
Congruent. They're
congruent.
Sorry.
So how am I going to mark angle 3?
With 2 lines?
Maybe with 2 arcs like that? Boy, that's ugly. And then 2 here. Name me a pair of alternate interior angles.
3.
5 and 3. All right. Again, if I trace them, they form a what?
Z.
A Z. Those are probably the ones that we're going to use the most. How am I going to mark angle 5 then?
With 2 lines.
What do I now know about angle 5, angle 8, and angle 3?
They're all congruent.
Name me a pair of alternate exterior angles.
1 and, no, 2 and
2 and 7. So if angle 2's got 1 mark on it, what's angle 7 going to have?
1. And so 6 and 2 separate. 5.
name me another pair of alternate interior angles.
Alternate interior, 4 and 6,
So how should I mark angle 6?
with 1 line.
And how many marks are going to be on angle 1 up there?
2.
So we know all that information just from those lines being parallel. Name me a pair of supplementary angles. There's a whole bunch of these and we're not going to name them all.
2 and 3.
2 and 3. They form a linear pair, right? So angle 2 is supplementary to angle 3. What's that mean if they're supplementary?
They add up to 1.
They add up to 180, all right? There's all kinds of them in there. Name me another pair that I'm not going to write down.
5 and 6.
5 and 6, 5 and 7.
Yep.
Are there more of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of them. We didn't get to this?
No, we did not. That's where we stopped.
Is it already drawn on your paper?
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of stupid. So this theorem says in a plane, if a line is, what's this symbol mean?
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular. As soon as you see perpendicular, what should you think of?
Right angles, or 90 degrees.
Good. So if we have this line, somebody name that line for me.
And,
Line, remember you name it like this, line,
yeah.
and no symbol, if they're giving you that one lowercase letter out there. You have line N, and you have line H, and they tell us that those two lines are, what's these?
Parallel.
Parallel. What's this line called again? A, starts with a T.
Transversal.
Very good, transversal.
And
And if we have all that, and
right angle.
that's line T is our transversal, there's a right angle there. This is a right angle. What do you know about these angles down here then?
Or right angles.
They're going to be right angles also. That's all this theorem says. If this transversal is perpendicular to this line, then it's got to be perpendicular to that line. Quit working. Find this one. Let's find all these angles. There probably will be a quiz when we come back from break.
Fun.
And this quiz will look something, one of the pictures will look about like this. Tell me an angle we know in this picture.
An angle,
Angle 5, what is it?
112.
That's the easiest one to pick out probably, right? Because they're vertical angles.
Yeah.
Tell me another angle we know.
No, I got it.
Angle 1. What do you know about angle 1?
It's an inverse angle, out, then exterior inverse,
Alternate.
or
It's
alternate
one.
exterior.
Alternate exterior with this one.
It's 112.
So it has to also be 112 because alternate exterior angles have to be congruent. Tell me another one.
3.
Angle 3, what's it?
It's 112.
112.
6 to 8 is 2 and 4.
2 is what?
68. And so is 4. And so 6 would be as well. And 7.
Now, you guys probably, you found most of those by doing supplementary and vertical angles. You've got to know the other stuff too. Like what kind of angles are 4 and 6 to each other?
Alternate.
Alternate interior. And they have to be congruent. Are they congruent? Yeah. What kind of angles are 4 and 7? Corresponding. Remember, corresponding form, it's like they form a F together, right? Can you sort of see that F? It's backwards, but. So they're corresponding angles. You smash them together, they have to be congruent. 3 and 6 are roommates. What has to be true about those? Remember, it's the oddball. Are they congruent to each other?
No.
They're supplementary. They add up to 180. Do those two add up to 180?
Yeah.
You should be able to find them using all that stuff, not just the vertical angles and supplementary linear pairs that you already know, because sometimes you're not going to have enough information to get to some of that stuff. Find me an angle on this one.
315. Oh.
Angle what?
Angle 2 would be 115.
2 is 115, all right? Those are, this angle and that angle are corresponding angles, right? Give me something else.
Angle 7 would be 115 because they are alternate exterior.
These are alternate exterior. Kendall's doing a spectacular job for you here because she's using other stuff, because she could have just used vertical angles there, right? But she's using the other things, the new things that you should know.
3 would be x plus 5.
I heard two different things for angle 3. What is it? You were both right. 65 degrees, and we know it's x plus 5. So x plus 5 has to equal what? 65. Can we solve that?
X ain't 60.
That's one of the things they ask us to find.
Oh.
Tell me another angle.
4 would be 115. And 5 would be 65. And 6 would be 65.
When you're doing this quiz next time, Keith, am I going to know how you found each of those angles?
No.
Am I going to look in your head and say, daggone it, Keith, you didn't use none of these new rules I told you. All you used was vertical and supplementary stuff that you already knew. Use the new rules. I can't tell. Find them however you can find them. That's all that matters. All right? Kylie J, can you handle that? I'm making you do the next one all by yourself. You're just telling me every answer. Huh?
Well, we got one.
That's all right. I got till 2:30.
I might be knowing.
Little different on this one. Watch closely. This is the one that everybody messes up, Adam.
This one looks cool.
Nothing hard about this, but everybody messes it up. And I'm not supposed to say this anymore, but when I'm looking at this, which two lines are our parallel lines?
The green one.
The green ones. Name the green ones for me.
And line A and line B.
So line, and it's spelled, line A is parallel. Remember that symbol means parallel to line B.
Yeah. And do we have 2 transversals?
Exactly. We have 2 transversals. You can't have, Kylie J, you can't have 2 transversals in the same picture. All right? Because all it's going to do is mess everything up. So what we're going to do is we're going to split off the 2 parallel lines, A and B, and we're going to pick one of the transversals and draw it off separately. So do this on your paper. Which one do you want to pick? Let's see, that's line D. We'll call this, because I forgot to put a letter on it.
Line D.
Line D? So if we pick line D, it's coming down through here like this. You have to separate this stuff off, and you should be doing this right there on your paper somewhere, separating it off so that you know how to do these kind of problems. They're not going to give you the problems that we do. All of them aren't going to look like this and be real simple. They're going to throw in crap like this, throw in another line here, and it's going to be confusing. What are these angles?
1, 2, 4, 3.
So write those in.
Oh my.
Now let's see, before we go on. Angle 10 was 60 degrees, so I'm going to write that in right there. Angle 7 was 50 degrees. Now you got to be careful. Sean, can you handle being careful? When I look down here at this bottom part, what's this angle right here?
50 degrees.
50 degrees. That's not too bad.
No.
Here's where you got to be careful. Is this angle 60 degrees?
No. It's angle 9.
Is it angle 9?
No. Is it angle 8?
It's 9 and 10.
It's 9 and 10 together, isn't it?
Oh.
And that's what messes everything up. So do we really know what this angle is right now?
No.
So let's just leave it blank. What's this angle over here?
8.
That's angle 8. Be careful again on this angle.
5 and 6.
It's 5 and 6 together.
Okay.
All right? Does that make sense, Michael? So you got to be careful with those. Tell me an angle we know in this picture that we split on.
50.
Which,
That's 7.
Oh,
7. Oh, 8.
2.
angle 8 is what?
50 degrees.
50 degrees? So let's write that in there.
And 2 is 50 degrees.
2 is 50 degrees, all right.
And 4 is also 50 degrees.
4 is 50 degrees.
And the one above, oh my lord.
Number 1 is 130.
Okay,
The
3 is
5 and
130.
6 one is also 130.
that's 130.
And so is the bottom one.
So is this one.
And 3 is 130.
Nothing hard if you separate it off like that, all right? You're still doing the same thing that we were doing on the other problems. So let's go back over here now. What was angle 1?
130.
And we're just going to fill it in. What's angle 2?
50.
Angle 3?
130.
Angle 4?
50.
How about angle 6?
And 5 is 130.
Oh, those two together was 130, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How about, let's do angle 8. I think we had it.
58, 50.
But the others there, 5 and 6, the whole thing's 130. I don't really want to mark that because I have a feeling that's going to
Just
confuse
split it
people.
back up.
9 is 7.
9 is 70? How'd you get that?
Took 60 away from 130.
So we know this whole thing right here is how much?
130.
130? If this part is 60, how much is this part?
70.
70. Very good. So angle 9 is 70. Now look at what we have.
That's like what we did.
6 is 7.
These are what kind of angles?
No,
What name?
vertical.
Vertical angles. What do you know about this angle and this angle?
But they're vertical.
They're vertical. So what's angle 5?
60. Now you can do the top.
Now we can do these over here, right?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, just like I did over there, I'm going to split off the two parallel lines. But this time, instead of using the red line as the transversal, what am I going to use?
The other one.
Line E, the blue line. Got to be careful again. What angles do we know here? What's this angle right here? Let's just start at the bottom.
That is 9 and 10.
Is it 9 and 10 together?
No, it's just
No?
It's just 10, isn't it?
Oh.
So what is it? 60?
The other one is 8 and 9.
This one's 8 and 9 together, isn't it? So how much is it?
130.
Close.
120.
120? How much is this one right here then? 120? How much is this one? How about this angle?
120.
How about this angle?
60.
How about this angle?
120.
How about this angle?
60.
Can we go over here and fill in everything then? That's 60, that's 120, that's 120, that's 60. Did we find every angle in that picture?
Yeah.
Guaranteed, if you tried to do that without separating them off that way, do you screw it up? Yeah. And on the quiz, when I said we're gonna have a quiz as soon as we come back, told you that first problem was gonna be on there. The other problem, there's only gonna be 2 problems on the quiz. One's gonna be like that first one, then this one, or something sort of like this. Actually, it's a little different, I think, but. Find this on there, Crook problem. Keep this as something that they put in the book, but I've always taught crook problems and I like them, so I stick them in here every time I do these.
Why are they called crook problems?
Because they're named after Michael, because he's a crook.
Michael Crook?
She just got lost, Michael. Why do you think these are called crook problems?
Because they're-
What's crooked?
There's a line. Oh wait, no, that's
We got-
transversal, right? So
That's our transversal, or it looks like where our transversal should be,
It's crooked.
but it's crooked. That's why they're called crook problems. Now, we had a theorem that said this. There's a point right here, if I had each one of you come up and draw a line through that point that's parallel to these other two lines, how many different lines are all of you going to draw?
One.
There's only one in the world that's going to go through that point and be parallel to those other two lines. So what we can do here, and this is what you need to do on your paper there, you just draw in, ooh, that's terrible. You draw in another line that goes right through there that's parallel to those other two.
That's a beautiful line.
Now we do this. If I split off the top two parallel lines, now can this be considered a transversal?
Sure.
Yeah, now it's touching both of them. This angle's 29 degrees. Can we find this angle right here?
29.
What kind of angles are they again?
Z.
They form that Z. They're alternate interior angles. So if that angle's 29, this one has to be 29. Does that mean angle 1 is 29 degrees? That's part of angle 1, but it's not the whole thing.
It's not all the way.
Then, if I split off the bottom two lines
That part would be 26.
and use this as a transversal, that's 26.
That would be 26.
This one up here is also 26 because, again, what kind of angles are those?
Alternate interior.
Alternate interior, very good.
And do you add them to?
Now, how can we find all of angle 1 there? You're right.
40. No.
What do we do with them?
It's 55.
Add them together. What do you come up with?
55.
55 degrees. So what's the measure of angle 1 there?
55.
55 degrees. Now, they're not always going to tell you these angles. They might tell you, maybe the next time they might tell you this angle or this angle up here or something, whatever. So you can't always just use alternate interior angles, but basic idea. On our box here, the only reason I ain't left this on here is because I made this box, Keith, and made me mad, and so now I'm going to use it.
Isn't that like a cube?
Sort of a rectangular prism,
Sure.
right? We went through that rectangular prism.
yeah.
How come it's not a cube?
Because it's not perfectly square.
All right, because all the faces aren't squares. So we got all these rectangles, rectangular prism. What? These two edges that my hands are on, what can you tell me about them?
Parallel.
They're parallel to each other. What can you tell me about all the brown edges?
They're parallel.
All the brown edges are parallel. Give me something else that we know in this rectangular prism.
There's 90, no? Yeah, there's 90 degrees.
So these are perpendicular to each other, right?
Yeah.
If I could hold it straight. What else? If all the brown ones are parallel, what else do you
All
know?
the white ones are parallel.
All the white ones are parallel also.
And the orange.
All the orange ones are parallel also, aren't they? Now, we talked about this at the start last time. This white one right here that I got my hand on, and this orange one right here.
Yeah.
Are they parallel to each other?
No.
They don't intersect.
They're,
Not on the same.
They're not on the same plane.
yeah.
What was that called?
I,
Look back in your notes real quick. That big long word. I'm lying to you, Kylie, it's not a big long word.
Skew lines?
They're skew lines. Is that what you said, Kylie? I just couldn't hear you. I gotta move you up front so I can actually hear you. So these are skew lines. So if I pick this one, my hand's on this one, give me a line that's skewed to that line.
The back one.
The back what?
White one.
This one? This one? I guess back to you is different than back to me, so you meant this one, right? Does everybody agree those are skewed?
Yeah.
Are they ever going to intersect? Are they parallel to each other?
no.
All of these, the corners, see how I tried to tape them all up so all the corners are blue? So we have all those corners.
Would those be like points?
Those are points. So if we're looking at our room here, That point that I drew up in the corner up there, way back at the start of the year, that's like this corner right here, isn't it? It's a point where the three faces come together.
Can points
What
be
can you-
parallel?
Points can't, no, only lines can be parallel. Lines, segments, rays. What can you tell me about this plane? Does everybody see that plane even though it's gone?
Yeah,
That plane and this plane right here.
they are,
They're parallel to each other, aren't they?
yeah,
Are there other parallel planes?
yeah,
How about this bottom down here? What's it parallel to?
the top and the sides.
All right, and then the two sides are parallel planes also. So planes can be parallel also. All that makes sense, Keith? So this will be really, really helpful for people who are watching this video. Won't be able to see any of that. Classify each pair of angles. Looking at this real quick. Notice, are these two lines parallel to each other? The lines don't have to be parallel to be the special pairs of angles. They just have to be parallel for those angles to be congruent or supplementary to each other. All right? So they can still be those special pairs of angles even without being parallel. Angle 4 and angle 5. What kind of angles?
Alternate interior.
This is what I would do. As we're doing this, Sean, I'm not writing out alternate, I'm not writing out interior, and I'm not writing out angles. Abbreviate this stuff. Alternate interior angles. I guarantee Clifton's going to say opposite interior angles, because for whatever reason, nobody can ever remember the word alternate, and they always say opposite or some other word in its place.
Diagonal.
3 and 7.
Corresponding angles.
When I abbreviate corresponding angles, I do that. How about 3 and 5?
Consecutive interior.
Now, with this one, they're consecutive interior angles. Let's just go with that. My first 20 years of teaching, they never called them consecutive interior angles. They always called them same side interior angles in every book that I ever taught out of, and that was easier to abbreviate because I just do SSI angles. I always liked that because it was that much shorter, that much less I had to write. How about 1 and 8?
Alternate exterior.
Anything real hard so far?
No. Whoa. Your picture's cooler than ours.
A little tougher on this one. When you're looking at this, you've got to be able to pick out what line you're using as your transversal. So that's the first thing we're going to do on each one of these. We're going to tell which one is the transversal. And believe me, Cooper, just because Ebersole said earlier, don't be lazy, I have no grand illusions that that's stuck in all of your heads and you're not going to be lazy, because that's probably still going to happen, all right? So when I'm doing this, when I'm looking at this, another way that you can do it without redrawing everything every single time. If we're looking at angle 1 and angle 8, what's the transversal that connects those two angles together? Line F. And that's what you want to write right here. Line F. That's an F. Now, what I'm gonna do, if I know I'm using line F as the transversal, this other transversal that goes this way, line G, do this. So that you don't have to redraw it. Take your finger and cover up that line. So now we're looking at angle 1 and angle 8. What kind of angles are angle 1 and angle 8 to each other?
Corresponding.
Corresponding angles. Three and 6.
Those are alternate.
Which line's the transversal for angle 3 and angle 6? Which one connects them?
Line G.
Line G. So that means we're going to cover up which line this time?
F.
Now looking at 3 and 6, you got these two lines,
Alternate exterior.
alternate exterior angles. Six and 7. Which transversal connects those two?
E.
So write line E in here, very good. Line E.
Wouldn't they be consecutive interiors?
I don't know, let's find out. If we're using line E as our transversal, what line am I covering up this time? So which ones are we doing? 6 and 7?
Yeah.
So we're looking at these two angles. What are they?
Consecutive interiors.
I'm not drawing on that picture. Consecutive interior angles. Ignore that. They should have put this in here, but they didn't, so let's do this. That's number 9.
Okay.
What kind of angles are 3 and 9 to each other? What transversal connects 3 and 9 together?
They don't have one.
So what kind of special angles are they to each
They
other?
don't have any.
They're nothing special to each other. Don't think that they are.
They have zero.
All right? So when we look at this, I'll guarantee if I put that question on the test, a whole bunch of people would say, oh, they're alternate exterior angles because they're both on the outside. Doesn't work that way. They're nothing to each other. Trying to find the measure of angle 1. These are railroad tracks. What should be true about 2 railroad tracks?
They're parallel.
They better be parallel. If they're not parallel, what's going to happen?
There won't be a train on them.
Boy, the train won't last very long on them, right? It's going to flop off. So angle 1 is 72 degrees. So that angle right there is 72 degrees. What other angles can we find?
7. Angle 7, angle 3, angle 5.
So let's draw this real quick. Let me draw it off over here. So we got this, looks something like that. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Pretty close. We know this is 72. We don't want to look at this whole picture as one thing. Again, I don't have any grand illusions that everybody's going to do everything that I said every time and separate everything off. If I cover this up, can we find these angles?
Yes.
What's this angle?
72.
What's this angle? Can we find this angle?
108.
Can we find this angle?
108.
This angle?
72.
This angle?
72.
This one?
108.
Now, if I come down here,
You can find that because the other one, the transversal.
if I go this way, I still know that these two are parallel to each other, right? They better be at least if they're railroad tracks. So those two are parallel, and I cover this up. What's this angle?
72.
72. What's this angle?
108.
108. This angle?
72.
This angle? Ignore that. I go back over here and I cover this up. We got our transversal here and these two parallel lines. What's this angle?
108.
108. This angle?
72.
this angle,
72.
this angle.
108.
Now that works just because what's true about these two lines? They're parallel. What's true about these two lines? They're parallel. Doesn't always work that way. If I did this, told you these two were parallel, then I gave you two transversals like this, will that all work the same?
No. Because since they're not parallel, it'd be different angles.
Right, so these angles over here are going to be different than these over here. Angle 3 is 62 degrees. I think we were supposed to find angle 4 maybe. Measure of angle 4. We'll just find whatever angles we can find there.
I mean 61. 62.
Do what? Does it say
No.
62? So that angle's 62 degrees. What can you tell me about angle 2? What can you tell me about angle 1?
It's 62.
What kind of angles are they?
Vertical.
Vertical. What can you tell me about angle 2 then? 62.
Because they're alternate interior.
Alternate interior. If you notice here, they form a Z. What can you tell me about angle 4?
That's 62.
62 degrees.
If we were to do a two-column proof about something like this, and we had to put angle 2 and angle 1 are congruent, would the reason be that they are alternate interior?
So let's say we were trying to prove angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. If we were writing a two-column proof for this. All right? We already knew that the measure of angle 3 is 62, right?
Yeah, that was given.
And that was given to us. We could say angle 3 is congruent to angle 2, or no, angle, it doesn't matter, we could say angle 2. Let's just jump right to angle 2. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 2 because what kind of angles are they?
They are,
Corresponding angles. And what we would write over here is if you have parallel lines, you would, those 4 theorems that we just wrote down there a few minutes ago, if parallel lines, then what do you know about corresponding angles? They're congruent. So you would write that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you just use one of those 4 theorems and there's a reason. And then if we were to go on, what could we say about 2 and 4?
2 and 4 are vertical.
Vertical angles, so we'd say 2 and 4 congruent because 2 and 4, because vertical angles are congruent, and then we could use substitution for the others. And Gretchen's up here going, that's stupid, Ebersole. Because right off the bat, what kind of angles are 3 and 4 to each other?
Alternate exterior.
Alternate exterior angles, and we could have just did one step and said angle 3 is congruent to angle 4 because if the lines are parallel, alternate exterior angles have to be congruent. Find this, we're going to do this real quick. We're going to find x and then find all the angles. They tell us angle 3 is 4x plus 7, angle 6 is 5x minus 13. What do you know about angle 3 and angle 6? What kind of angles are they?
Alternate interior.
Alternate interior, they form a z there. So what can I do with this expression and that expression?
Nope, they're congruent.
So in algebra terms, congruent means what?
Equal.
Very good. So 4x plus 7 equals,
5x minus 13. And then you can solve it.
write that on your paper real quick and solve it.
Oh.
Still with me, Keith?
Yeah.
Still with me, Keith? Still with me, Keith?
I got it.
Adam, you hang around with Cole?
Evan?
Yeah.
Every now and then.
You didn't have to see him today, did you?
No.
never comes to school. What did anybody come up with?
20.
20? Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
So once we know x is 20, can we plug in here to figure out what angle 3 is?
Yeah.
Plug in 20 right there. What's 4 times 20? 80 plus 7. So angle 3 is 87. Write that in there. Now, can we find all the other angles?
Yeah.
Give me one.
2 is 87.
2 is 87. Write it in.
6 is
6 is 87.
7 is 87.
7 is 87. 1 is 93. Everybody agree with her on that?
Yeah.
What else?
4 is 93, 5 is 93, and 8 is 93.
Easy stuff.
Yeah.
We should just take a test over it today, shouldn't we?
Honestly, let's know.
Take a quiz.
Honestly.
You write them up, put them up on the board. Turn them up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Open up your books to page 211, the homework. We're going to do these together. Again, we're going to go around the room.
Go.
We're going to start with Kylie J. Then after that, we'll go to Kylie J. Then after that, we'll go to Kylie J.
No,
Then the next one after that's Kylie J.
we're gonna be here for a while.
And when you get 5 answers in a row correctly,
Ooh, fun.
then I'll do 5.
Yeah. I'm not. New homework or this one?
I don't know. That's up to you guys. Do you guys want? You guys?
We're gonna need the new homework assignment
No.
before we can write the answer.
We wanna do all of them so that you can get a whole next one.
So you want to do all of these and then just add them up for me to do on the next assignment? All right.
Oh,
Wait, no.
that makes more sense.
No, on today's assignment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
today's homework.
That's fine with me. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah. I'll write them down so you don't cheat.
So I'll just. You think I'll cheat you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, because I
Sounded
got
like
5
it
right,
right
so I'm
now.
gonna answer 2.
So just follow along. If I think Keith's not following along, then I'm going to call on him out of order.
See?
Just because that's the way I like to do, Keith. I just like to be a jerk just to people named Keith.
Just a kid.
Must be a K thing. So, start over there with Sean. I don't know, how should we do this? Should we make it,
Do Sean,
Each-
Clifton, Kylie.
we'll go down the rows like this, but should we make it that each, like, number 1's got 3 different answers? Should we just make Sean do 1 and then,
Yeah.
oh, I knew you'd say that. I was hoping you guys weren't that smart.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So, 3 segments parallel to segment AE in that picture. Sean, give me a segment that's parallel to segment AE in that picture. Don't look.
Just look at me, Sean. I
No. Look at the picture. Number 1 says name 3 segments that are parallel to segment AE. How do you name a segment? How many letters? So look at the picture. You see segment AE? Name another segment parallel to that. Clifton, name me another segment parallel to those 2.
CG, segment CG.
Kylie V, name me another segment parallel to those. Ignore that stray mark going up through there. Number 2, one segment skew to a segment AB. Michael, give me a segment skew to segment AB. B. HG,
Second HG.
it's parallel to it.
Oh, DH. Second.
Are there a bunch of others that were skewed?
Yeah.
Now, HG at first, even though it's like this, I know this doesn't look the same, right? But even though it's like this, are these two orange segments still parallel to each other?
Yeah.
All right, so you got to be careful with stuff like that. Number 3, a pair of parallel planes. You're going to have to use 4 letters to name a plane. Go ahead, Kendall. Name me one plane.
Plane A, B, C, E.
Ah, my fault. You said it and I didn't write it. And then plane, what's it parallel to?
E, H, G, F.
Very good. Number 4, a segment parallel to segment AD. Go ahead, Gretchen. EH. Everybody agree with that? Sean, you agree with that? Segment EH? You wouldn't lie to me, would you? Do you agree with it just because it was Gretchen saying it and you know she's smart?
Yeah.
All right. Number 5, 3 segments parallel to HG. Dustin, give me one segment parallel to HG. Say it again. EF. Kylie J, give me another one parallel to HG. DC. Keith, give me another one parallel to segment HG. We got DC and we got EF already.
DC.
She said DC. Think of your alphabet. Say your alphabet for me. Guys, say your alphabet for me.
AB.
There you go. Number 6.
Number 6?
5 segments. Oh, I'm not doing all 5. There's no way that I'm giving you 5 points for this.
What?
Why
I'll
not?
name them all.
All right. This is sort of crazy, I guess. 5 segments skew. I don't think you can get all of them.
No?
5 segments skew to segment BC. Give me one, Cooper.
AB, H, wait, AB and FG.
All right, give me one.
What? Oh.
To BC.
To BC. BH.
EH. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Skew means they're never going to intersect. They sort of look like this, right? Give me another one skew to BC, Adam.
A.
AE. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Remember, you can write in your books there, so if you're looking at this, write in there. Help yourself out. Another one skew to segment BC, Sean. It intersects. Remember, skew, it's got to be like this, something where they're never going to intersect. What are those two to each other? They're parallel, aren't they? Come on, you can do it. I have faith in you. Take your pencil there and trace BC. see what they look like? See how one goes like this, and then the other one goes like this? That's what we want. Well, we got 3. Another one, Clifton.
Yeah.
Everybody agree with that? And one more, Kylie B. CG.
No, they intersect. Right?
HG, everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think we have that one yet, do we? Number 7. How could you characterize the relationship between faces ABCD and DCGH? So, Michael, what do you know about those 2 faces?
They're perpendicular.
Good enough. Sorry, I had to stop and think.
Wouldn't they also be, they intersect but not on the same plane?
Yeah, you could say they're intersecting, they intersect each other, something like that. But they're going to form right angles there, it looks like, so they're perpendicular. Number 8 says identify the transversal connecting each pair of angles. So this is like the problem that we did up there, and what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to cover up something, right? So that you're not looking at it and screwing everything up, all right? And that's for, I don't know, we only did one of these? No, we did 2 of them, didn't we?
Yeah.
So for number 8, angle 4 and angle 5, which line is the transversal?
Line
Line A, everybody agree with that?
There's no perpendicular.
So if line A is the transversal, what line are we covering up?
line
Line B, so cover that up with your hand. What kind of angles are 4 and 5 to each other?
Consecutive.
Cooper, what are you doing? Go ahead, Kendall.
My bad.
Consecutive interior.
Consecutive interior angles. Number 9, angle 5 and angle 15. Angle 5 and angle 15. Line, what is the transversal, Gretchen? Line D, everybody agree with that?
Yes.
So if line D is our transversal, what line are we covering up?
Line C.
Line C, cover up that part, and we want 5 and 15. What kind of angles are 5 and 15 to each other? Go ahead, Gretchen. Alternate exterior angles. Oops, not number 10. Jump to number 18. Number 18. What type of angles are 3 and 10? 3 and 10. So on this, they give you some crazy picture this time, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
So what you want to do,
Cover everything.
cover up the whole bottom like, and just look, what's our transversal this time, anybody? Line L is our transversal, so we want to cover up all that bottom stuff. And Dustin's just going to look at angle 3 and angle 10. Angle 3 and angle 10. What kind of angles are 3 and 10 to each other, Dustin? Give you a hint. Gretchen just gave you the answer on the last problem. Alternate, what'd you say?
Can't say what.
Huh?
Can't say what.
Did you say alternate exterior?
Yep.
Next one, 19. State the transversal that connects angle 11 and angle 13. angle 11 and angle 13. Kylie J, you see angle 11 and angle 13?
Yeah.
You're going to cover up the left-hand side, right?
Mhm.
What's the transversal that connects those two angles? You said line B? What'd you say?
119.
Yeah. There's no B in that picture.
It's P. Wait, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? You're looking at number 20. No, I'm not. Okay.
No, you're on the wrong, yeah, you are on the wrong picture. Picture below it.
Okay. So like. I'm not leaving.
Number 21, flip the page. Number 21. Draw this picture up here because I think we need it for all of these, right?
Yeah. I mean yeah.
For like next 5 or 6 or something. These 3 lines are parallel. They tell us angle 7 is 100 degrees. That's right here.
Yeah.
Let's just do this before we start answering these questions. This is what I would do, Sean. If I was doing this problem, I'd just go through here and fill in all these angles first. Then I would answer the questions. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because it takes a lot less time. All right? So,
Top, right, corner, and out. I'm sorry.
Keith, what do we know about this angle right here? So, if that one's 100, what's this one? Cooper, what do we know about this angle right here?
That is 80.
Adam, what do we know about this angle?
Oh, let me think. I think it's 80.
If I cover up this part, let's jump over to this side. Sean, what can you tell me about this angle? Ignore that. Clifton, what can you tell me about this angle?
So, it's 100.
Good job, bud.
Kylie B, what can you tell me about this angle? Michael, this angle. If I cover up this side over here, which I can't do because I can't reach over there, just sort of ignore it. Kendall, what's this angle?
100.
Gretchen, what's this angle? Dustin, what's this angle? Kylie J, what's this angle?
I see.
Huh?
Oh.
Well, I can't hear you. 100. I just couldn't hear you. Do we now know all the angles?
Yeah.
So Keith, we got them all filled in here. Number 21 says angle 9. Angle 9. What did we say angle 9 was?
100.
Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
So I don't have to keep looking back at the picture. 22 says angle 6. Cooper, what did we say angle 6 was?
80.
80?
Wait, no, thank you. Yeah.
80? Quit messing with me, Cooper.
Sorry.
23
Angle 8.
says angle 8.
80.
80? 24. 80? And 25. 25, Clifton. 100? Let's look. 26. Kylie B. 100?
That's what she said. Yes.
You guys talk too quiet, I can't hear nothing. 27 is a different kind of problem, isn't it?
Yeah. It's about a ramp. That's the crooked thing.
Now, is it does it have a crook in it?
Yeah. I mean, not really, but it's just, it's not crooked, it's a straight line. It doesn't
All
go
lines are straight, don't say that.
all the way through. I meant, oh my god,
It's not bad.
No, Ebersole while we're in class.
it's not bent.
So it's not a crook problem.
Ooh,
Good job.
thank you, bud.
If you have a ramp, first of all, if you're building a ramp and you build the ramp to be 10 degrees, you screwed up. Because it's too steep.
Actually,
Alright? If you know anything about grades and the way that they grade highways and stuff, if you got a 10 degrees incline, a little much.
a little steep.
Alright? That's why if you go down to Tennessee and Kentucky and all the hills down there, I went to school down there and I don't call them mountains because they are not mountains. I'm sorry, the mountains are on the other side of the country. There's hills down there. And
In Kentucky.
those Kentuckians, when I was down there, boy, they hated me.
Hillbillies.
They hated me because I refused to call them mountains, and they said, "Oh, we got mountains." No, you don't. You got hills. But that's beside the point. When you go down there and you're in the hills, and you got the highways, you notice that they snake back and forth. Why do they do that?
Because mostly they have to make it steep.
Because you don't want it to be a real steep angle. All right. Looking at this. This is 10 degrees. What kind of angles? Angle 1 and that angle to each other. Anybody? They're roommates. So they have to add up to 180 degrees. Where did we leave off at?
Wait, what?
Mikey.
We stopped with you or are we at you?
She was
We're at
the
you?
last person.
We're at Michael there?
Yep.
So if this is 10 degrees, Michael, what's angle 1?
170.
170. That's your answer.
Good job.
Good job, Mike. Good job.
What were we at? 3? Is
Miko died.
that right?
Trace.
3? Didn't Kendall say she was keeping track?
Kindle's like.
Yeah, we're at 3.
Number 20. When we on? 28? 28. 7th Avenue runs perpendicular to 1st and 2nd Streets. What's perpendicular tell us? Anybody? Perpendicular means what? They form right angles. Most roads intersect at what? 90 degrees. Anybody ever wonder why if you go out on the Wolfery Road or some of these other little hill jack roads that we have here in Preble County, why you got the main road here and then all of a sudden the other road's coming up like this and it's parallel to it and then all of a sudden it turns real sharp right into it? You ever wonder why? Because, well, they want that to form when they hit that other road. A 90-degree angle. Anybody have any idea why?
Let's see here.
Think about Gettysburg Road out here where it hits 35. You got 35 going along through here, and you got Gettysburg running into it, and it does this.
Oh my gosh, I hate that.
Exactly. Why do you hate it?
Rex.
Because it's hard to see.
Then, of course, what do we have here in Preble
Trees.
County? Not trees.
Cornfield.
Cornfields.
Oh.
Everywhere, cornfields. Well, when you pull your car up here,
Potato plant.
and you're trying to see down this way, you can't see anything.
Comes
No.
that way, and then you turn.
All right.
into something
Ever
else.
so, you know what we got other than corn? More corn.
And you know what you have when you have corn place.
So, they try to make them form right angles. That way, you can see better. You can see everything. On this one,
At least we're not, oh, Idaho.
Maple Avenue makes our 15-degree angle, 2nd Street. What is the measure of angle 1?
Yeah.
So we have this. They gave you all this information, about 3/4 of it I don't even think you need. Oops, that's wrong.
You make me use brain cells, I swear. You mean? Don't go to
Did you know if you're really smart and you hang out with not the smartest people, they can make you unsmart?
That makes sense.
On this, Are we ready to go? We're gonna run out of time. I ain't even gonna be able to do any of my problems.
Oh, you're funny.
So hilarious.
On this one, these two are perpendicular. Do we even really care that these are perpendicular?
No.
No, this doesn't really matter to this problem. We're trying to find angle 1 here. If this is 115 degrees, Kendall, what can you tell me about this angle?
It's 115 degrees as well.
And we're trying to find angle 1. What's it going to be?
That's right. That should be 65.
65 degrees. That's our answer there. They told you all that other information for no reason. Number, what's next, 29?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is when we find x and y.
Problem 29. I'll tell you what, this will probably be the last one then for about 8 or 10 minutes. I'll work problems off of the worksheet. Number 29.
You have 20 problems to do, by the way.
We're not to 20 yet.
Yeah?
We didn't hit 4 yet, did we?
This,
This one will be.
I'm pretty sure.
3y minus 1 is that angle. This angle's 40 degrees. And this angle's 5x. Tell me an equation, and these two are parallel. Sorry, I forgot to mark them parallel. Tell me an equation we can set up. I don't care if we're finding x, y, whatever first. Anybody?
5x plus 40 equals 180.
So these, Cooper's saying that these two together have to add up to be 180. They have to be supplementary. Everybody agree with that? Write that down on your paper there and solve it. What do you know about this angle and the 5x angle? What kind of angles are they to each other? Alter exterior. So they have to be congruent, right? So 3y minus 1 should equal 5x. What's the bad thing with this equation?
There's 2 variables.
2 variables. But one of your classmates here just solved this.
X equals 28.
X equals 28. Everybody agree with that?
Yes, yes, they do.
I hope that's right. If x is 28, what can we stick in right here?
28.
Somebody help me out. 5 times 28. Grab your calculator. Boy, we're wasting a bunch of time. I'm not even going to have time to do any. 147? That don't sound right.
No, how can it be 147?
It's 5 times
Just-
28.
What is it?
5 times 28.
Yeah. Yeah, what you did.
Kendall, it's 140.
Yeah, it's 140.
See? Way to go.
Multiplied by
Well, this is number 29, right?
Somebody solve that for us.
Yeah, see what? I was telling him the whole answer, not the answer to that. Silly
I
goose.
was finally right.
Actually, you said 147.
No, I did not. You said only 47.
This is doing a lot of good, isn't it?
47. 47.
Y equals what?
47.
And I think, did they just ask us to find x and y?
Yeah.
But I got the 5 times 28. Yes, you were.
They say we made Kylie do that stuff.
You want it in here for Mr.
Yeah.
No.
Sure, she was doing well, and then
The channel
screwed
started
everything up, didn't she?
I don't bully anyone, like, you
rolling.
prove
Me
it.
and Michael all the time.
Not you. Not you,
Not the other one.
Michael Leo.
The quicker you do this, the better for you. We only got about 5 minutes. There's no way I'm gonna get 20 problems done, but come up here and grab them.
God damn.
I can't find my paper.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not.
I think it's on my feet.
Find it.
We only have like 10 questions.
I think I even mentioned how I
Didn't want to lose it.
pick me a problem.
One.
Number one.
Wait, no.
Too late.
Huh?
Number one. Think before you speak. Number one, need to tell us these two are parallel. That's our transversal. That's 87 degrees.
Yeah.
Angle 1 and angle 2. So we're trying to find the measure of angle 1, measure of angle 2. I'm counting this as two problems because it's got two answers.
Are you
No
kidding
way.
me?
I did the same thing for you guys.
No, you didn't.
You did.
What's the measure of angle 1? What do you know about the 87 and angle 1? Alternate interior angle, so they have to be congruent. So what's angle 1? 87. It's one of our answers. What do you know about the 87 degree angle and angle 2? They're roommates. They add up to 180.
93.
Think now. Pick me another one.
4.
No.
Yep.
Yes.
Gosh.
Problem 4.
Hard to
They tell us that these two are parallel to each other. This is our transversal. This angle is 142 degrees. This is angle 2. Looks like we're only finding one angle this time. And this angle is 2 times x plus 9. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they said find the value of x. Also, they just want you, they don't even care about angle 2. So we're just find the value of x.
Oh, that's.
So we're just finding x. What can you tell me about this 142 and angle 2?
They added 180.
So what's angle 2?
38.
38, everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
38. What can you tell me about the 38 degree angle and this angle?
It's 38. It's congruent to 38.
Alright, they're alternate interior angles, so my equation, 2 times x
Plus 9,
equals
38. Oh, wait, you're supposed to be reading this. No,
Yeah, you're supposed to do it all by yourself.
x equals 83.
Wrong.
Wrong?
Yeah.
What is x? 10. Hopefully somebody's paying attention right now.
Joking.
So they don't, I bet Kylie J wrote down 83.
Kendall did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I did that yesterday in the class on like 3 problems and they all wrote it down. I shouldn't say all of them. There's about 5 of them that were laughing at everybody else. What was the answer there? 10. Give me another one.
8.
8.
Are you kidding me? He's picking the easy ones.
Number 8 says prove that if angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, then angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. Let's do a 2-column proof on this. Statements, reasons. What do we know? What are they giving us this time?
The angle 1 and 2 are congruent.
So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. How do we know that?
No.
That's given.
Given.
It's only that.
What can you tell me about angle 1 and angle 3?
They're congruent
How come?
because 2 are doing the same. 2 is in the same problem.
Look at 1 and 3. What kind of angles are 1 and 3?
Congruent
Why?
because it's given. It was 1 and 3. Oh, they're vertical.
Vertical angles are
Congruent.
number 3. If 1's congruent to 2, 1's congruent to 3, what else do you know? Don't lie to me, Kylie. That answer will be wrong for you. That was pretty harsh, wasn't it, Clifton? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But she's annoying me back here because she wants to say something and then she's not paying attention.
Angles 2 and 3 are congruent.
What did we use here?
Substitution problem.
Substitution property. Next question. Probably got time for one more.
5.
Which one?
Where did you
5.
pour?
5?
Yeah.
There's like.
Bro.
5 on the front page?
Yeah.
Problem 5 on the front page. They want you to find all the angles. 1, 2, and 3. This angle's 112. What's this angle?
112.
And then 2 is 60.
2 is what?
68.
68.
And then 3 is
112, 112.
Your assignment. The page out of the book, make sure it's done,
What?
and make sure this is done. Page that was supposed to be done today, the 211.
Okay.
You guys are going to pick a problem. Ethan will help us out probably by drawing it up there, and then I'll answer the question, how to do it.
So we're going to do column first.
Yeah, I've
Do
already
5.
checked.
Draw 5
5?
on the back.
Number, which back? 'Cause there's-
The very back.
Very back.
Yeah, that one.
Number 5 on the very back.
Do I draw all of it? All of it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You might, here, do me a favor and hit pause on the recording, because this is. So, angle 23 is how much?
156.
Angle 24 is
24.
24. Angle, excuse me, angle 25.
156.
24.
24.
Yeah, I wasn't
Angle 26.
reading. 156.
156. Is that all of them? Did we find everyone?
Here it is.
Next question.
Number 4 on the same page.
Number 4.
Yes. And
Before we go real far, what's angle 8 on number 4?
35.
35 degrees. What's angle 2? 145. What's angle 7? 145. Draw. Let's see, they tell us 12. Draw line L, line M, and the transversal that goes down this way, Ethan.
Okay.
No, other way. There you go. So, angle 12 is 111 degrees. That's over there on the outside. Yeah. So, angle 5, the one diagonal to it is 111. The one vertical to it is 111. The one right below it is 69. The one vertical to it is 69. Going over to the other side, top right is 69. Top left is 111. Bottom left is 69. Bottom right is 111. So those are angle 3, 4, 9, and 10, right? What do we know about angle 8?
35.
What do we know about angle 9?
69.
69. What's 35 plus 69? 104? Does everybody see that little triangle there? 3 angles of a triangle should add up to be how much?
180.
So angle 13's got to be 76. So right, angle 13 is 76. Now, draw L and M and use the other transversal. We know that the top left is 76. So that one, go ahead, 76, 104, 104. Jump over to the other side, top left, 76. Top right, 104. Bottom left, 104. Bottom right, 76. And so those are angles 13, 14, 17, 18, 15, 16, 19, and 20, right? What other angles do we still have to find? That's all of them, isn't it? Make sure when you come back, hit pause for me.